US mental toughness coach Steve Siebold has flown in from New York with his controversial, no-nonsense take on the UK's obesity problem. So, Steve, what will you be telling the good folk of the UK?
If you're fat, it's your fault. But with mental toughness, you can fix it. I'll show you how.
Can you take it? Thank you very much, Steve. If you think you can handle some tough love and you want some help to lose weight, talk to Steve. Give us a call. Maybe you want to challenge his methods. Maybe we could see you on Skype and you can have a face-to-face with him. Now we're joined by mental toughness coach Steve Siebold. He pulls no punches when it comes to telling people how to lose weight. He battled obesity himself and believes his approach isn't cruel but realistic. He'll be taking your calls later on how to shift the fat. Do you think the British, Steve, have a welcome, by the way? Do they have a different attitude to Americans when it comes to losing weight?
I don't think so. I think we're all kidding ourselves that it's not our fault that we're fat. And the obesity epidemic just keeps getting worse.
Some people will be sitting watching, oh, no, I do have a serious medical condition. What kind of percentage do you think there are of people who really genuinely have a problem and it's not down to just eating too much?
Less than 1%. That's documented. So most of us don't really have any excuse except we're making ourselves fat. We are the problem and we are ultimately the solution.
And you were there. You were that person. So what was the thing that shifted your mindset that helped you become positive about losing weight?
Yeah, I was 40 pounds overweight about 8 years ago, and it was all vanity. I went to a friend's wedding, and a few people sort of didn't recognize me right away, and I was so embarrassed that I went to my doctor. He said, Steve, you're 40 pounds overweight. Fix it. You're a mental toughness coach, for God's sakes. So I did.
So you were already in this field? You were already working
Oh, yes. For 25 years, I've been a mental toughness trainer.
But now you're specialising in obesity, which obviously is a huge market, both in the States and sadly growing here.
Worldwide. I mean, I've been on this book tour for 2 years, and unfortunately, the obesity epidemic has gotten worse because we're not addressing the real issue, which is really mental toughness.
Barbara, you really agree with Steve?
Absolutely. You're in control of your own body. It's what you put in your mouth that makes you fat. I have a job where I'm sitting at a desk all the time, and I easily put on weight. So I'm now very careful. None of all those carbs, right? Potatoes, rice, pasta, bread. Not
so
all the time, but
you've
got to really be very, very disciplined and eat correctly, healthily, because nobody's stuffing it in your mouth, you know. You're doing it yourself.
So you're about changing. In fact, can I just read a couple of the declarations from your book? Some slightly harsher than others. They all start with what fat people think and what thin people think.
Right.
Or fit people. Fat people think habits are something to break. Fit people know habits are something to develop. That's the kind of declaration that you repeat throughout, not repeating that specific one. Fat people see themselves as victims. Fit people see themselves as leaders. It's quite, it's quite stark, isn't it? It's quite a harsh message.
It is, but it's hard to argue with. It's like Barbara was saying earlier when you asked her about how she wrote so many best-selling books. Discipline. It's discipline. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't it really us?
Okay, are we getting worse at being disciplined? Are we getting worse at having a self-motivation? Or are portions getting bigger also a big part to play in this? Because culturally, we have so much more food, don't we?
Don't you think in restaurants, that if you go to restaurants, they put an awful lot of food on your plate? My husband and I, if we decide we're going to have a steak, and that's another thing, you've got to choose food because red meat can be bad, we cut the steak in half and eat half, right?
Sure.
And make sure it's lean. And make sure the hamburgers are lean.
Portions in the States, and
enormous.
We're catching up, but you order a salad and it's got toppings on it out here. So,
but we're eating it.
No,
I mean, they're feeding it to us, but we're eating it.
But there also needs to be a two-pronged attack, maybe. We have to be, in control and be disciplined, but perhaps, restaurants, the food industry itself, whether it has to come from the top, and, I know the States, they don't like the idea of a nanny state, but should government intervene more?
I disagree. I really don't think government should be telling us what we can put in our mouths or how much of it or what. We need to grow up emotionally and stop putting all that food in our mouths. They'll let them serve us. We don't have to eat it all. As Barbara said, cut the steak in half.
Split the salad.
It's a pretty simple, split the salad.
What about children? You see, it's the parents that are also responsible. If children get fat, it's because the parents are putting the food there for them to eat.
But that's often the parents don't know themselves. I mean, you need
the parents are fat a lot of times.
You need to get the parents on side, and then hopefully that they will change the habits then that they pass on to their
I think it's
kids.
education. I mean, it's educating the parents, it's educating the public, but not telling us what we can eat. The government's role shouldn't be shouldn't be a nanny state, I don't think. I think we have to grow up and take responsibility for our own lives. I mean,
Well, they're not cooking the dinner, are they?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, they're
that's
not.
Right.
So you are really quite, I mean, it's quite interesting because the book is brutal in various points. I can imagine if you were sitting there with a serious weight problem, you'd feel quite attacked at points. But then at the end of the book, and I've
had 3 death threats.
Have you really?
Yeah.
At the end of the book.
Not in the UK, though.
People are going to sit on you. At the end of the book, you say, it's almost like an apology at the end, the afterword, because you say, look, you've sat through this and you probably thought this guy's a real jerk. Some of the things may have even offended you, but believe me, we're all spiritually connected and I did it because I love you. So your prime motivation is love.
Right, absolutely, because this epidemic is not getting better, it's getting worse, and someone's got to stand up and take the heat and say, hey, look, mental toughness is the answer, and this book is a mental toughness book for dieters. That's really the answer, I think.
Are we just weaker, Barbara, do you think, than we ever were? Do we make worse decisions?
I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for saying this. I think people are greedy. They see the food on the plate. You know, the second bite tastes exactly the same as the first. So why not have 5 bites instead of 15? You've got to discipline yourself. People are going to have heart attacks, and what other diseases? Name some diseases.
Oh, cancer, heart disease, you name it. It's obesity affects it.
It's a time bomb. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine right now the phone lines are getting jammed. And people
They're
are
loving us about this,
wanting
right?
your advice on this, Steve. So I hope you really do call because, you know, Steve's only in town for a couple of days. His techniques have been proved to work. So maybe you've got an opinion on them. Maybe you don't think they're right for you. But put that to him. Give us a call. Maybe you want to talk to him about kickstarting your own programme of weight loss. Now, Barbara, your first story.
Which English borough has the highest percentage of obese adults? And the answer is in Gateshead.
Yeah, Gateshead in the northeast, just over the Tyne Bridge from Newcastle, came on top with over 30% of adults considered obese there. 3 other boroughs also had an obesity rate of over 30,000. Tamworth in the West Midlands, Swale and Medway in Kent as well. So you got your mentions, unfortunately. Welcome back to the Right Stuff Extra. In the final part of the show, it's over to you for your questions. Mental toughness coach Steve Siebold is here, so we're going to get straight to your calls. Kirsty, who have you got?
We have Maggie first on line 2.
Maggie, thank you for calling us. What would you like to tell Steve?
Hi.
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 Yes, good morning. Hi to all of you. Basically, I've been struggling with my weight for years and years, Abby. I've never really put on weight or even taken any weight off or put on weight. I've sort of like stayed at the same weight for years. And I really struggle with my midriff patch. You know, no matter how many sit-ups I do, I still cannot get rid of this mutton top, you know, and it's just annoying.
Okay.
So, and I'm hopeless devising healthy menus as well, and I sort of need help with that, if you don't mind, Steve. I do try and eat healthy. You know, I don't eat rubbish. Well, not anymore. I used to, a long time ago. But, you know, I do love salads. I do eat fruit, nuts and dried fruit. Yes, okay, in between I'll have the odd packet of chips, but it's not like every day. It's like once in a while, you know. And I still can't get rid of the spare tyre. So that's the main problem.
Maggie, let's see what Steve's got to say to you, because I can see him itching to give advice. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, Maggie, I would go to your doctor. First thing, go to your doctor, your physician. Make sure you're healthy enough to be on a good diet and a good exercise program, and then get a recommendation from your doctor on a diet. Diet is 80% of the equation, usually. Exercise is about 20%. And make sure it's not just about eating healthy foods, it's about eating the right foods to lose weight. And if you do that, you're gonna see a real result. But make sure you're healthy enough to do this before you take it on. And then you've got to decide that you're going to have the mental toughness to do it. That's really what it comes down to. It's a decision you make that you're going to do this once and for all. No excuses. That's it, period. End of problem.
And Maggie, it's a commitment that she's making to herself, and it's going to take weeks and possibly months.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that you need a bit of help when it comes to the mental strength to do this, Maggie? Maggie?
Yes, I think perhaps you're right, yes. Because going alone, you know, it's tougher as well. I don't have any friends, you know, that are sort of like the same enthusiasm. I'm not saying I'm bursting with enthusiasm, you know, but you know, doing it solo can be quite tough as well, you know.
Yeah, but I'd get that out of your mind, Maggie. Don't think that way. That's how the average person thinks. Don't think it's tough. Just make a decision to do it. Doesn't matter if you've got support or no support. Just make it happen. Stick to the diet, and you will solve the problem, and you'll feel fantastic afterwards.
You going to do it, Maggie?
I'm definitely going to do it.
Good,
All right.
good. Okay, let us know how you get on, will you?
Much.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. Kirsty, who else have you got for us?
Okay, we have Dee next on line 1.
Dee, thank you for calling us today. What would you like to tell Steve?
I just think he's got a very blinkered approach to weight loss. Some people, like myself, who are on medication that increases the weight loss, have got a choice of being slim and unwell or well and obese. And I feel that he's actually quite dangerous in talking the way he's talking.
Well, Dee, I agree with you in terms of if you're on meds and you need meds, you have a medical condition, and you're in a small group of people that really has to do what you're doing. So I agree with you that you're doing the right thing, but the rest of us represent the 99% of the population, and we're making excuses for our weight loss. So I'm not really talking to someone in your situation, but I'm talking to the masses of people who are just making themselves fat by stuffing food down their face.
Do you agree with that, Dee?
No, I think he's making generalisation and saying that everyone who's overweight is overweight through their own good. He's not actually saying that, yes, people are overweight, but there are some people that cannot help the weight. And I think he's making vulnerable people very guilty, which isn't adding to their wellness.
Well, they can stay fat if they choose to. It's an individual choice. This is a choice all of us make. If they're fat and they're happy with that, or they just want to resolve themselves to be fat, God bless them. It's okay with me. I'm talking to people who are serious about losing weight and actually are not happy being fat.
I'm not happy being fat.
Well, you're in a different situation, Dee.
I've got the choice of I either become ill and slim or stay well and be fat.
It's not a parallel equation. You're in a different situation, as we said earlier. You're not in the same position as 99% of the population, so don't lump yourself in with that group. I agree with what you're saying on your side of the equation, but that's not the case for 99% of us.
Okay, Dee, thank you very much. Thanks for calling us. Kirsty, who else have you got?
Okay, we have Anne next on line 4.
Hi, Anne, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
And what would you like to ask Steve?
Well, Steve, to be quite honest with you, I've been on quite a few diets. I've lost weight, put it on. I seem to be I'm an emotional eater, and it really, really gets to me. When I've lost the weight, I feel, I feel absolutely great. So I do. I feel as if I've lost about 10 stone instead of 2 stone. But it's keeping it off. I don't know. I just seem to go back to bad habits. Every time that something comes up, I just go right off track again. Okay. And then I've got everything. I've got every issue with weight. I'm on lots of medication because of my weight. I feel like an old woman because of my weight. And it's just to stick to this diet. I don't know why I don't keep on losing it.
She said something there,
Anne. Lose a bit,
you said something there which I think was really important, that when you do lose some weight, you feel fantastic.
Certainly.
And Steve's just got to harness that.
Right, exactly. I would, welcome to the club, Anne. I mean, we've all gone on and off diets and lost weight and gained weight, so don't feel bad about that. We've all done it, including me. Here's what I would do. Here's a resource for you, free resource, fatloser.com. Fatloser.com. It's a 21-day mental toughness video course you can take, and it'll help you stick to the diet. But you've got to make sure you go to your doctor and get a healthy diet, and then have the mental toughness to stick to it. And that's all it really takes. That's all. This is a very simple equation. It's really not complicated. We make it complicated.
How can she get tougher though and stick? She's obviously got the willing.
Right.
You say get tougher. How can she get tougher?
Here's one way: cut out pictures of body styles that you'd like to look like when you lose your weight, Ann, and put them on a board. Put them on a vision board, and look at that board every day and say, "This is why I'm sticking to the diet, because I want to look better, I want to feel better, more energy, better health, all the good things. There's no downside to being fit. It's just fantastic." So that's one way to do it. Get a vision for what you want to look like.
And does that sound good?
Well, Steve, I'll try. I will try.
Good, good. Okay, thank you, Anne. Let's get one more. Kirsty.
Okay, Gabby, we have Roz on line 3.
Roz, what would you like to talk to Steve about?
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Roz.
I have a different problem. I've had major surgery because I broke my back. And as a result of all the surgery and the medication and being immobile for quite a long time and still not being very mobile, I've put on a lot of weight. So I thought I've tried dieting, and I'm still on 27 pills a day. And I've got no thyroid either, and I've had to have that removed. So consequently, everything goes through the roof. And I've been dieting now for 4 months, and I've only lost about 3 pounds.
OK, Ros, and we haven't got loads of time. Quick advice.
Ros, don't try the diet, do the diet. Don't try it, just do it.
OK, Ros, just do it. Hope that helps. Thank you very much, Steve. For the people queuing up to speak to you, so hopefully next time you're back in town, you'll come and sit on the sofa and give them some more motivation.